Hi guys, welcome to my channel, The Honest Perfume Reviewer. We finally here in Sweden got some rain, some like heavy rains, which we so desperately needed. It hasn't rained here for like 3 weeks, and there's like pollen on everything, on all the outdoor furniture, on the car. And even like I don't usually have problems with allergies or anything, but this year I've just felt there's something bothering my, my throat and my nose, and it's getting kind of in everywhere. So I think this was well needed. And it also makes it easier to try certain fragrances. I wanted to just come online and tell you a little bit about the meetup we had Saturday. We had about twice as we had at my house here, and there were about twice as many as we usually are. We're usually about like 12, sometime between like 8 and 13 people maybe, and now we were 24 people. So it was just overwhelming what people had brought to try, share, swap, sell, whatever, and split and decant. But I found that it was kind of complicated to like, because if you want to swap something, there's some discussion involved, and you have to kind of discuss it. And maybe that person who's selling it, we put up, like it kind of like at a flea market, you take a little corner of a table, you put up your things to try, to swap, to sell, and like people can go walk around and look. But then you have to kind of find the person who owns the bottles and discuss with them, and maybe they're in a conversation with somebody else, and you might not even know who this person is because you've never met them before. I didn't know everyone that came because we're just friends online through this Facebook group that is for the Nordic countries. It's an old community. I think it's been around for like maybe 2 decades or something, like from the beginning of Facebook. But several new people came in, and some of them had just started getting into fragrance, and it was just great fun, welcoming them into the community. I ended up getting I didn't really do any swaps because I was just kind of walking around being a hostess and talking to everybody and trying their fragrances, and many of them brought me something little to try. I've got a bunch of things now that I can try. First of all, I'm just going to tell you like what's coming up on the channel. I was so lucky. My friend has a discovery set of Maison Violet, Natalie Lawson's, or Maison Violet if you were English speaking. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 fragrances. And 2 of them I had just spoke about, I think, in my previous video, Sketch and Compliment. I really liked Sketch. Compliment I don't need. It's too much tuberose for me. But Opium is a really nice Palo Santo fragrance. I've tried that in my friend's house. I know that one of you guys mentioned that I need to try Une Heure d'Apogée, which is in this, and Nuit Bleu. Tanagra, I think someone mentioned too. So like these will be really nice to try. Really, I won't open these now. And also, but I really like Natalie Lawson's work. I also have this kind of smaller brand that is not so much spoken about. It's from Poland, actually. It's called Bohoboco. And this is, I'm just going to open and show you because it's pretty cute. I guess the full bottles look like this, like all colorful little bottles. And the sample set looks like this. And you pull these little things to get the sample out, and they're these little cardboard boxes, and they're called things like eucalyptus patchouli, yellow rose incense, sea salt caramel. You get the picture. They highlight 1 or 2 ingredients. These will be fun to try. And then I have like all things that I've been wanting to get my nose on for a while. China White from Nasomatto. Are you familiar with this fragrance? I thought this was a really light fragrance, but it is not. It's an extrait, and I think I was surprised to see on Fragrantica that so many people found this had bad performance, which I didn't find at all. It has very much depth, and it's very animalic on the skin, and I think I finally managed to identify the note of musk, because I'm kind of one of those people that don't understand musk. My nose can't quite find the musk, and like, I'm not anosmic to musk, but I don't know what musk is on its own, if you know what I mean. Like, I can't like smell a fragrance, oh, this is musky. And most people can. Like, this is considered to be one of the easiest notes to like recognize. That's at least my impression, and I've always felt a little bad that I just don't quite get it. But in this fragrance, I do. And this is maybe I'll give you a better, more in-depth review of this later on, but I really, really enjoyed this. I made some notes yesterday on this one because I was just so kind of overwhelmed by this fragrance because I really, really, I've tried a lot of fragrances since Saturday. Today's Monday morning, that's right. So all it says is powdery notes, woody notes, musk, floral notes, and rose. And 3 sprays goes a long way. You don't need a lot of this fragrance, but boy, is it pricey. I figured out the price per milliliter, and it's like way more expensive than Amouage's, like Amouage fragrances at full retail. So that gives you an idea, but at least they sell them in the 30 ml bottles, which you can't find from Amouage. You have to get at least 50, right? I think some of the Amouages don't even come in 50, only 100. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure. So Nasomatto was founded by this Italian guy, Alessandro Gualtieri, in Amsterdam. And I think Nasomatto means something like crazy nose or something like that. And their fragrances are, some of them are actually like really strange. Like, I don't know if you've tried Fantomas, and now there's one out called something like Sado Naso that's supposed to like smell like sex or whatever. And I've smelled it, and it does have a little bit of a skanky feel to it, like a little dirty, but it's actually pretty good. I haven't given it a proper wear, but they have it like at my local department store, so I will give it a chance. But oh, I did write down in my notes that this one, China White by Nasomatto, gives me a little bit of a Francesca Bianchi vibe. The way her fragrances have this like animalic undertone. Oh, and this also reminds me a little bit of, and I had to go up and make a little comparison to Memoir Woman from Amouage. And I did look, and there are quite a few overlapping notes, except that these, of course, are a little bit more like, woodsy notes, powdery notes. You don't really know exactly what's in there. And that has more like olibanum and like these typical Amouage notes. But I think this has some incense or labdanum or something. It's a completely different fragrance than I thought it was. Maybe I was kind of like, I thought China White sounds like kind of like white, like something light. But I guess they're really referring to the smell of cocaine, which I know absolutely nothing about. And Black Afghano from the same house and this fragrance were supposed to be kind of like a yin and yang kind of thing. And it's been controversial, that to make a fragrance that's supposed to sort of make you think of cocaine. But this is a really good fragrance. I wouldn't mind getting a bottle, but I will never pay that price. I think it's too much money. Okay, I just want to see if, oh, yep, a lot of people mention that it smells a little bit like charcoal. And when I look with that in mind, in my nose, I can kind of smell something burnt in there, but not much. It doesn't bother me. It's like good, in a good way. And it has a little bit of a vintage Chypre kind of vibe, but yet modern. Yeah, I really, really like this. Was kind of like one of my discoveries of the day. Another one, a discovery of the day for the meetup was Diptyque's Volutes, and I think this is the EDT. And I wore this yesterday, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's like an iris, kind of a woody iris with tobacco and honey. And I don't like tobacco and honey typically. But this one isn't so sweet as I find many other tobacco honey fragrances. And I heard Ramsey, I talk a lot about Ramsey. Ramsey, he spells his name, for those of you who might be new, he spells his name R-A-M-S-E-Y, and he has a channel on, if you just go on YouTube and search for Ramsey fragrance, you'll find him. He said that tobacco typically is paired up with tonka, and that gives it a really sweet wearing experience, kind of. But this one doesn't have that tonka. This is more, I mean, this one has an earthy tobacco, slightly sweet. I just don't find it too sweet. I just find it really interesting. There might be a little similarity to Byredo's Eyes Closed, the new one, that I actually find quite good. I give Byredo a hard time. I don't like Byredo at all, but this new fragrance is pretty good. I haven't tried them side by side. There's something, I don't find Byredo like generic, and that's not why I don't like them. It's just that I don't like the fragrances. I think they're either too watery, don't smell like anything, they like disappear right away, or they like a really heavy and not well blended and loud, but in a wrong kind of way, like Bibliotheque, like slow dance, What else have I tried? Oh, the Pulp is horrible. Smells like a bowl of rotten fruit. They're all just kind of, they go off in a weird direction to me. I just think they're not that great. Okay, what else did I get my nose on yesterday? I got to try Richwood from Xerjoff, which I very much liked and thought was way better than Coromandel from Chanel. I don't have a squirt of that, but I got to try it. I've also tried, actually this morning, from Neela Vermeire. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Neela Vermeire Creations. It's called Trayee, and this is a Bertrand de Chafour creation. It's really, really a good fragrance, pretty sweet, but I need to try that again. I'll probably be talking about that again on my channel. Really enjoyed it. I also tried this morning a new fragrance to me that I'd never even heard about from Cartier in American English. The Dragon's Kiss, Le Baiser du Dragon, which I really, really liked. Let me see what I had to say about this morning. I have to kind of remember what I mean, I liked it. It's an almondy fragrance. It's like a nutty floral iris, but not too gourmand, although it is a little bit sweet. It's pretty sweet. And it lists caramel. Oh, let me see. Was that the other one? Yeah, it does list caramel and dark chocolate, but it's not like a full-on gourmand. It also has like cedarwood, iris, musk, and in the top it has amaretto, this like almond liqueur, gardenia neroli, bitter almond. It's a really good fragrance. Really happy to get my nose on this. I had never even heard of it. It was just kind of a surprise to me. Someone gave me that. I also tried the other day, this was not for the meetup, this was before that, Persephone's Patchouli from Electimus. When I tried this in the heat, I couldn't smell it very much. The performance wasn't that great, but now that it's cooled down a little bit here, I got a really good wear out of this. It is really good, a really good, soft, easy wear patchouli, like way, way more subtle than like psychedelic or, let me see what I wrote about it that I can share with you. But I mean, it's like really toned down compared to, like Perfume Aromas patchouli that I also own. That's like really a loud fragrance. This is more like, this is soft and the performance isn't bad. It's just not like a loud fragrance. It's more of a, where is it? And I can't find it now. I thought I wrote down the notes. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I tried this. Maybe I tried this like last week or something, and then I wore it again. Anyway, I really like it. I will cherish these last few drops, but probably I won't buy a bottle because, I mean, these are expensive, these fragrances, and I have other like similar fragrances. I mean, not completely similar, but like I don't need that bottle. What was I going to share with you more? Oh yes, I also got the opportunity. This one I've borrowed. This is like it can be maybe 10 years old, this bottle, a little bit more. I think it came out in 2009. It's the EDT of Opium from YSL. It also came out in EDP version the same year. But I realized I can't wear this. You would think that this is my kind of fragrance, but I just, and I looked up the notes and I've just realized I think it's Lily of the Valley that really ruins it for me. It takes over this fragrance, and I've really been bothered by this note lately. I find it to be sharp, soapy, like kind of, it's a little aldehydic. I mean, this might have aldehydes as well, I don't know. But it's just, oh, I really, really don't like this on my skin anyway. I've compared it with another fragrance, kind of from a very small house. They only have one fragrance so far. And I know this person. Her name is Natalie. She has a brand called Nahélie. Nahélie, Sweden, and it's called V. It's not even on the bottle. It was marked on the box. It says V for wood. This one reminds me of, it has an opium kind of style, but it doesn't have that Lily of the Valley. This is just so much more forest floor, kind of satisfyingly sweet, resinous. I think it has cypress. It's just really, really good. But this one is going back to my friend. I do appreciate, you know, being able to borrow bottles. Actually, I even prefer that, like, than to get sample sets, because you use them and you just kind of move on, and then you've spent like $60 on a sample set. So if I can just borrow a full bottle, I mean, I'm not going to use a lot of it anyway. I really believe in this fragrance rotation. That's why these meetups are so good, because it's such an easy way to, like, get your nose on new things. There's no packing involved. You don't have to worry about the postage and things getting broken and not, you know, not showing up. And if you're buying a covered bottle, you can feel the weight of it, and you can meet the person eye to eye, which feels really good and fun. I also got a few drops of Ashore from Amouage, which I have tried before in store when I was in Warsaw, but I never really, I think this one, they have this one in Sweden too. I wonder if they have the, I think they do. This was created by Mackenzie Riley, who, someone said something really downgrading about her in an article. What did they say? That she was the queen of lotion or something like that. But I find her work really interesting. I mean, the only thing I can think of right now that from the, you know, the top of my head is Ohosegor from A Lab on Fire. This one has, a lot of people think that this reminds of Jasmine Rouge from Tom Ford, and it does a little bit, but this one also has ambergris, so this has like a marine quality to it, like a salty sparkliness. So I'm really happy to have those drops. I think there was something more from Amouage that came my way yesterday. Let me see. I have so many samples of Amouage now. Oh yeah, it was Purpose. Purpose from the same collection as Guidance, that Guidance came from. Purpose is that comes in those bottles marketed towards men. This one is heavy on the Akagala wood, but to me it smells a lot like cedar. I mean, the opening's a little bit interesting, but it kind of, I don't know, it kind of like dries down to something really like woody generic to me. It's like, it only smells like, I mean, it's really my pencil shavings kind of cedar wood style fragrance. Or maybe it's just me that just don't get it. It's not my style of fragrance, but I really appreciate, you know, being able to try the new stuff. I have all these decants of Amouage. All these are Amouages. Plus I have a sample of Memoir here somewhere. I have 2 different versions of Memoir in decants and samples. So yeah, that was also nice. I like Amouage is the house right now that I'm mostly into, that I find to be like every time I wear an Amouage, I can discover something new. I really appreciate that. I'm just not so interested in simple fragrances or fragrances that are too sweet. But what was it I tried? Oh, I did try actually a really nice, if you're looking for something a little bit more affordable but smells like niche, I did try at the meetup a marketed towards men fragrance from Carolina Herrera called, it's either called Passion Man, or Man Passion, or something like that. It's an orange bottle, beautiful bottle. This would make for a good gift, and it reminds me, it has like a oricey, irisy, violet kind of mid, and then it has like a base of like warm spices. So this one might also remind a little bit of the Eyes Closed from Byredo, but a little bit more toward the Dior Homme kind of DNA. A real nice, soft, easy wear. I think anybody would like that fragrance. And I didn't find it masculine. I found it totally unisex. So you might want to get your nose on that. I think that just like recently came out. We have this guy that comes to the meetups that has like, he's always on to the latest stuff. I mean, he had Dior Riviera like way before it came out. He has his contacts at Dior, and he's really into certain brands, and he gets everything from those brands. And we were asking him if doesn't he want to come with us up north and go to this little boutique called Fragrance and Art that has kind of more like smaller houses. They have Papillon, they have Masque Milano, Zoologist, you know, like houses that you might not these real big, these big houses that have like millions of fragrances, but he doesn't want to go down. He doesn't want to discover a new brand because he thinks he might go overboard and spend too much. And I said, you know, but what's the difference of buying one extra Dior? You know, he buys big bottles too, than buying a bottle from a new house. But, you know, everyone does this hobby differently. And there was another guy at the meetup that like, he was mostly in it for the collecting of like things that he used to own. So he was really looking for like vintage fragrances, and he brought all these different vintage masculine leaning fragrances like Kouros from YSL. He brought like old KL, like Lagerfeld Pour Homme, Paco Rabanne, like old formulas that he kind of hunted down. But he basically didn't want to buy so many new things, and he didn't want to spend that much money, and we all do this differently. For me, it's not important to have many from the same brand, although I can appreciate the aesthetical, lining them up side by side if you have several of the same bottle, but it's not important enough to me to like put a lot of money in the same brand just for that reason. The juice is the main thing. What else did I have in here that I might want? Oh my gosh, I wanted to say one more thing. What did I do with it? In my little gift from Julia, from the States, where she mostly sent me like vintage formulas from her own collection, she also sent me, but I think I put this sample somewhere else, a sample of this fragrance called Acadian from Pineward, I think. This house was founded by this really young guy. I think today he's only like 27, and he spent, I guess, growing up a lot of time in the Rocky Mountains, and all his fragrances are, I don't think they're completely natural, but a lot of natural ingredients, and they're all kind of, the theme is the forest. And this fragrance, Acadian, that I tried had like notes from both like the sea, the forest, and the soil, the earth, a lot of like mosses, and he uses like juniper and like a lot of like things that come from trees, you might say. And I just find the story really interesting, and how he's kind of found his own thing. I mean, their fragrances are like, you need to go in and check out that website, Pineward, Pineward. I really, really want to try some more from this house. I found that fragrance was like really kind of green and piney and earthy, maybe slightly herbal, and it reminded me like of something maybe more spa-ish. Like I didn't find it so much like a perfume. Like it wasn't so perfumey that I would like wear it to a party or something. But it was like an experience, like a nature experience, and I'm really excited to try more from this house. And I can't remember the prices on these things, but they're not like outrageous or anything. Oh, here's another one that I got. I got a little squirt of Moonbloom from Here Green, which is a green tuberose fragrance that I've really wanted to get my nose on for quite some time. I have gotten my nose on it before in store, but I've never given it a proper wearing, so I'm really looking forward to doing that. Because this is one tuberose that I do. This house is growing on me. I did try their vetiver. I'm just now getting a little bit into vetiver. I just want to explore some vetiver dominant fragrances. And I was just listening to Ramsey. He has a brand new video out on vetiver. He's actually done something very unusual for him. He's made a top 10 ranked list of vetiver fragrances that have vetiver in the name. And he gave this vetiver an honorary mention. It didn't quite make the list, but he liked it. He didn't mention that he thought it was smoky, but I found it when I put it on, I was like really intrigued by it, and I kept like sniffing my arm like for the rest of the afternoon, but I was also wearing a load of other things on my skin, so I really need to go back and try that alone. But it was interesting to hear his take on this vetiver fragrance, and I need to go back and try it. I was just, it's a real heavy and loud and yet naturally smelling fragrance. And what I learned today was that it's not, vetiver is a kind of grass, and it is from India, but now I think it grows in other parts of the world as well, but it is like from there. And it's not the grass that gives the fragrance, it's the roots. So you get the roots and you make it into an oil. And depending on the soil where the roots grow, you get different flavors of vetiver. Like it can be more incensey and smoky if it's close to a volcano, and it can be more, smell. it has all these different, it can be sweeter in some kinds of soil than in other places. And I find that interesting. And I think Sebastian also has a video where they go into depth about vetiver. If you guys are interested in like, you know, really finding out more about a certain fragrance note. He has a friend, her name is Dana, I think, or Donna or something. Dana, I think it is. And when she comes on the channel, they choose to like narrow it down to like looking at everything about a certain note. And she has a lot of in-depth knowledge, more so, I think, than Sebastian himself. Sebastian is more about quantity, I think. He finds, he goes through everything new, and he doesn't maybe dig deep into like the harvesting of different kinds of vetiver. I mean, that really takes a lot of time. So he's kind of found his thing. He has the channel where I go just to find out, you know, what's new, just to find, you know, what houses have new launches coming up. Because I'm pretty sure he gets everything for free, and he very rarely says that fragrance is garbage. I mean, he might say that this is not his cup of tea or something like kind of polite, or he says he might be slightly disappointed in this release, but that's about as far as he'll go. Other than that, it's just not, I don't really know. I think I can sort of hear his real opinion. Like I have a fragrance called Musk Palawan, which is like a really tropical, nice fragrance with ylang ylang and vanilla and exotic fruits, although those fruits aren't listed. And it's from the house of Lorga. And he said that like, this is a solid release, but you know, you can hear that this is something he would not wear. But you have to kind of like take it with a pinch of salt. I think it's more, I have actually another, a recommendation for you on a fragrance reviewer. I think it's called These Smell Amazing Fragrances or something like that. I have to look it up for you, and I will put it down below. I've only listened to like one video with her, but she only has like, I think she has less followers than I have. And she started by, you know, coming on saying why she hadn't posted in a while, and that she had been suffering from depression and ADHD, kind of back and forth, where one kind of triggers the other. And she was like so honest, and she also really honest. I mean, you could tell also by the number of followers that she can be honest, and she can say, you know, this is a beautiful fragrance, but the performance sucks. I mean, you never hear those kind of words from these bigger channels, right? I really liked her tonality. She is from, I think, Austin, Texas, kind of a younger, I think she was like 40, 41, something like that. I can't remember what she's told. I mean, she had to kind of find a career where she could combine, you know, these kind of mental issues with, she needed flexibility in her work. I really liked her as a person, so I'm going to be going back there for more. I don't know if we have similar taste or not, but I will put her name in the box, in the description box below, so you can find her as well. You might find her interesting as well. I like the openness, you know, and that you know that she's telling the truth. Yeah, there's this other person, I think she calls herself Laura Sparkles, who I also find, I mean, she just went and bought, speaking of addiction and stuff, I think that's kind of what her main, she goes online now and talks about, you know, trying to prevent others from going down the rabbit hole and just do some crazy buying of, you know, perfumes. She bought like 150 bottles in, was it a year or a year and a half? I mean, and she regrets it now, and now she's kind of like decluttering all of that, and she's making videos on this. But she has a really nice tonality as well, very honest, very nice to listen to. We might not have the same taste, but I like that style. Yeah. Okay, guys, I'm going to round this off now. There'll be more in a few days. Goodbye.